Today we are meeting with Batti in our continuing series, Sri Aurobindo Ashram, the Early Years. Welcome, Batti. We would, first of all, always we ask, how did you come to the ashram?
See, our family, that's my uncle, my brother, my father's elder brother, he's Pantulu. In short, he's Pantulu. He's Subramaniam Pantulu, but we call him Pantulu. He's been associated with the ashram right from 1919, I think.
I see.
So he was an engineer in the PWD in Chennai, Madras at that time. So every darshan he used to come and go back, maybe in a day. Often it is one day he would come, but often twice it happened that his superior happened to be a Britisher, I think. He said, no holiday, no. All the darshan, what is it? He won't give him a leave to go. He said, okay, I'm resigning from today. I'm going. So he came over. But they took him back to service. So he was all right. So in those days he used to come. He was one of those who came and quickly went back. So I believe once he came and went, Sri Aurobindo would tell the mother, now Pantulu has come and gone, we can close the door. So he was like that.
He came for darshan, basically?
Yes.
So he was having darshan of Sri Aurobindo and Mother
Yes.
before 1920 or around that time?
Yes. And every darshan used to come. In 1943 or 44 he retired. And then he came with his family, that is two daughters, two of them are here, Bhavtarani and Suniti, and a son, Narayan. They are my cousins, actually. So with them he came over here and settled down. He had one other eldest son who was in the Air Force, he left, he's there, and another daughter who studied medical and became doctor. And she was here also in charge of the maternity home here. She's no more now. But these two cousin sisters, they are here still. And Narayan, who was my cousin brother, older than me by 1 year, he left in 52. And he's gone and joined college and become an engineer.
So when did you come? What year?
So when they came, my uncle came for some cousin's wedding or something to Guntur. Guntur is the place in Andhra where we stayed, where we lived. So with them in 45 I came away. Both for keeping Zara, we'll live here and we'll accompany to my cousin brother Narayan. So since 45 I am here.
So you had Sri Aurobindo's darshan how
Yes.
many times?
Those 5 years every time,
4 times
four
a year?
times a year. And then from 49 and 50 there was from the playground, all those who were in the physical education, we used to file past two colon par deux, two ranks. We used to file past the mother and Sri Aurobindo when they are sitting there, like a march past, salute. Just past and go.
In the room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were sitting in the darshan as
Yes.
it was.
Yes.
We come through here and move out. We all form our lines and all on the footpaths outside. So one by one the groups go in and march past here.
And this was in addition to the 4 darshans?
Yes. So after that time we were in the group uniform. Then we rush home and change over to, let's say, civil dress, and then we had another darshan. So that was an extra. So And naturally after in 50, when he left his body, then he was there in Samadhi on the. That time we went many times that time, but that is not.
What are your memories of when you saw him? What was he like?
Well, we took him, we were too young to think of
Yeah.
very high sounding anything, philosophical anything. But we found him like a old rishi. That is the impression we had. So we just saw that time once, but we never heard him talk or anything. Only I can say we heard his footsteps on top. When we head down there, he is walking up. That is all. Otherwise, there was no.
And then the school began.
School began in 43 December. So 44, this is origin, there were about maybe 12, 15 students, I don't know. So 45, when I joined in, they were already, because of the war, many parents, they brought their children over here. And so the school started, and there were about, when I joined, maybe 25 students. So apart from darshan, we met the mother at least 3-4 times in the day. Students number, the meditation hall staircase is there. It goes and turns round. So on that half, top half, all of us fitted in there. So, and then the mother used to give us a flower or something at about, this is after school. We had first the balcony darshan, 6:15, old balcony behind.
Yes, I was there.
And then 9 o'clock, she appeared on the window over the Manbai's room. The window she used to open and just appear once and then go. That was about 9 o'clock. But later then she, about 10ish, she would go upstairs with Chinmay, the lady Chinmay who used to attend on her, holding a parasol over her. She would come on the terrace. That time this her present room was not there, the top room.
Right.
So she would come on the terrace and walk across and come on Pavitrada's room, that side of the Samadhi,
Yeah.
on that terrace, and she would go back. That was called the terrace darshan. So that you could even see from the outside footpath even. So if we are out of the school or some moving around, we would see her there. And then that was the terrace darshan over. Then there would be a what we call a vegetable darshan. That is all the produce of the ashram. That was only one garden. Kazana was there. So they would bring the vegetables and all in bullock cart would come, and they would place all these baskets. So where Nirodha's room is there, that small veranda like thing, all would be there, and she would come down that staircase, which is the north of some other straight one. That staircase should come and glance at these vegetables. At that time, some mainly young people, they used to stand there, and it was a short, few minutes, and she would go up. That was called the vegetable darshan. Then that was probably the last, except again at night, at about, in the beginning it was at 6:15 or so, she would come on Dimanbai's terrace. She would sit there, and all the elders on the courtyard below. That was the general meditation. Children were not allowed. So we would be in the playground. We play till 6:15. That time no lights and also it gets dark. Before that we come to front of the ashram. We wait. Parents and elders come out. We go home. Maybe a little wash and maybe a little study by 7:15. That we were off to bed.
But this was before Mother started coming to the playground.
Yes, yes.
Long before.
Yes.
Or playing tennis.
Yeah. That tennis ground didn't exist even.
Right.
We had only this one playground.
Ah.
And she did come out in those days. Previous to that, long back, I believe she was going out in a car here and there, someplace. She's visited lake and this. That time lake we had no property even. She used to just go around. One side she took some sadhaks or sadhikas by turn with her even. I think Shahanadi, she writes in her memoirs, something like that.
Pavitra drove the car?
Yeah, as far as I know, he
Yes,
was driving at
yes.
the time. And by the way, only Sumantra had the privilege of driving her from playground to the ashram once. Because Pavitrada was caught up somewhere and came late or something. So she went. Only that's the only person I know who drove. But there was a atelier worker driver, Bala.
Mm-hmm.
He is always sitting beside Pavitrada. Because once Pavitrada comes in the empty car, he might drive. But with the mother, only Pavitrada. And from tennis ground, all Pranabda would accompany her. So,
Tell us a bit about your first years with Mother.
you see, we went to all these darshans, I mean, mothers, their blessings, we used to call them blessing. And the school would close at 8, 11, 15 or so. After the balcony, this was our first. Because the window darshan and the terrace darshan, those were around, or if we had not got a class, or if we happened to be, we went. But at 11, 15, at that, there used to be a general, all the students would go. School is finished, over there. We would go there. So there, she gave each one a flower. There was not much talking or anything. Flower, rarely a toffee sometimes. And that was the time when Pranabda had just started physical education, and he was like just teaching others like that.
This was 45, 46?
46, 47.
47? Mm-hmm.
He used to be also in that staircase when she was giving the flower. And then I used to see to him she would throw 1, 2, 3, maybe 5, 10 toffees. So we just said, well, whatever it, we didn't analyze anything. But we saw that he is getting a. Later on he got closer. And by 47 he was closer to her, he used to be with her, accompany her and stay. She took him in rather.
In the room, yes.
Yes. And that was so. And then there was another darshan, weekly. It was called a bull darshan.
Mm.
We named it bull darshan. There was only one dairy, near the distillery that side.
Mm-hmm.
Ashram had that one dairy. So all the cows, calves, all were brought to the balcony road
I
that
see.
side. And it was theirs. We had to stand behind. We could not stand in front. They would be lined up in front. And she would come 4 o'clock on Sundays. And if we had, we would go in the morning and reserve one calf. This calf I'll take, this calf I'll take. So the chance to hold that calf in the darshan time. So these were the little joys we had at that time. And that was the bull darshan. There were 1 or 2 big bulls also, they were brought around. And this was the general.
Were you there for the soup distribution?
No.
That
was much earlier.
That was much earlier.
Mm.
Huh?
Much earlier.
And there were no children at that time?
I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
She would put a hand over and sort of concentrate, and then she would distribute the soup to the sadhaks there.
I had heard, but I don't know who told me, that Mother would taste the soup of each one.
I
Then
have not
give it
heard.
to
I
them.
have not heard. It's
Yeah.
possible, but often there was even much later in the dining hall. We used to. There were those workers who were working in the dining hall. They used to have in a shelf small bowls, enamel bowls. Hmm. There's a piece of banana, was the vegetable of that day, maybe a spoon of curds and all this thing. Sample of this mother had tasted it, seems. They would call it prasad. And this is for the dining room workers.
Hmm.
So if we could sort of bribe one of the workers, we used to have a little share. So time we tasted that too. That is what I knew about that prasad there.
Hmm.
And this, the prasad house was there, which is now prasad house, which they call beside the grace.
Beside
Office.
grace, yes.
The one Midudi was there, Midudi,
Hmm.
Midubhashini. I think I have written about her in my book also. She was old-timer, fat lady and quite short, maybe to my height even that. She was there and she would make special luchi for Sri Aurobindo.
Yes.
And if he did not take, she would cry. She would say, "The Lord is left me and he doesn't like me," and all this. She would even go upstairs and she would bow down to Sri Aurobindo and say, "Put your left foot here now, put your right foot." All this she would dictate to him, and he would say, once she did not take, so she was crying that he doesn't like me. She called her, "No, Mridu, how is it today? I cannot take this much. I have taken," and all. He would console her, she was quite a old timer, illiterate. She used to live there.
But your children knew her.
Yeah, we used to go and trouble her for the prasad.
Ah.
So she was quite a character.
Hmm.
You would go and she would, if she liked you, or if you could please her enough, she would give the prasad. Otherwise, she would. And one incident about her, I don't know if you heard about it. I don't know, Motagakar, somebody shouted at her something. She got a little annoyed. She said, "I will go." And she came and to playground and sat in front of the mother's room, the door. Those days, every day March past, all the groups used to join, like Darshan Day. All the groups used to do the March past. After the March past, the other groups disperse, except the older men, the H group, what is now the H group. They would be doing the marching up and down. Quite a large number of them. All the Pranab, they would be giving the orders and they do what they are doing now. They would do those, and after the concentration, there was a distribution, general distribution. All the groups would line up and she would. So all the groups were ready for the march past. So Vidudi came and sat on the blocking the door. Pranab that told her, "Move, mother has to go for the march past." She would come and stand near the map.
Yeah.
She wouldn't budge now. The Mona went and Mona tried to plead with her. No, I won't go. Motagaka went and threatened. Nothing doing. Then somebody had a bright idea, I don't know. Went and called Lalida from his room. He came and Vidhu, chalo, he said. Turned around and walked out, and she followed him like a lamb.
Oh.
Just one word. He didn't even wait to see she come, and she turned around and went, she followed him. So Lalida had a great influence over her. Because when we troubled her, or somebody, Amarendra used to often trouble her for prasad. She said, no prasad today. He would say, no, and he would follow her. And she would scream from there, "Nolni Babu," she would scream to report to him. Then everybody runs off. You see. But last days of her, the day before she passed away, she was near the Samadhi. She was full, nearly lying down on the Samadhi as if somebody saw her like that. And then she went home as usual. Next morning she didn't get up. Without, I think mother remarked, I think that Sriyananda has taken her. So she was Mridudi. So they were, and ours were, with the mother, you see, we were as children, we knew respect, but we had nothing much like, except if we had problem in this sense, we didn't have any problems. It's just his class, and if sometimes his teachers could scold us, sometimes one teacher actually, we came late to the class. We used to play, it was playground, isn't it? So this 15 minutes interval is there, soup time. Used to go and play some football or something. Used to, and teachers sometimes had hard time calling us back when the bell has rung. But it is this. So one of us came back a little later. So the teacher asked him to stand as a punishment. So this next, when we went 11:15 for the blessings, we reported to her against the teacher. She took the teacher to task, no? It should not be.
See, even that.
So anyway, that was the blessings were, and then when the students got little more number was there, we could not fit in there. We used to sit afterwards in 3-4 rows in what you call the darshan room now. You know, where Mother and Sriyananda used to sit. Before that long room.
Yes.
That Sriyananda's room doors were closed, but we would go and sit in this room in 4 rows. And she would go around giving us the flower or something.
As you got older, what work did you take up?
In those days, we came not for, like many students now, they come for the studies and they think, all right, we'll finish the higher course, and most of them go, though they keep a connection, except 1 or 2 stay back. But those days we didn't think of all that. We came and we were not a student community, something which is separate, but we were ashramites also. And we studied just because we had to study, and that was our occupation. And 4 o'clock when it's closed, we go for playground. And there were not so many rules because we didn't think of rules. We just followed naturally the whole thing. So, where are we? Once we finished our studies, there was no question of finishing studies. We didn't think of that. And most of us were already doing some work. The older ones, I remember Arun Ganguly, they were studying under Pavitrada. They were the higher classes. And Sumitradi, these people, they were already working in atelier under Pavitrada only, you know, workshop. That workshop was inside the ashram, you know, where Chom sits now. There was a lathe and some small tools, and they were working there. And we, before we finished our studies, we were doing some work, because I told you there was no thinking of finishing a study. We studied, and I didn't like to join geography or something. I went and told her I want to leave this. She might say, all right. I wanted to leave once the drawing class, what you call sketching, used to have. She said, why you want to leave? I said, no, I don't like the teacher. Something like that. I mentioned something. She said, you can leave, but you will regret, she said.
You can leave, but...
You can leave the class, but you will regret later on, she said. I left. And after a month or so, I went and told her I want to rejoin the class. She said, okay. So, then for our work, in 57, the swimming pool was open. I mean, just Alan had built it and it was getting delayed. She fixed up the date, 21st February on my birthday, I'll open the pool. So it was not complete, the circulation pump was not ready, something was not ready. But because she said, they filled up the water, it turned green in no time. But the opening was done. So before it opened, they were looking for somebody to take care of the pool. And I was standing at that time talking to somebody near the mother's room in the evening, before the general distribution. There was this Narendra, Kake Promise, his elder brother Narendra. He used to look after the playground like Rajkumar is doing now. He is no more now. Narendra, he came and told me, hey, why don't you look after the pool? I said, look at the pool, I never put on a pump even, because in the house we lived, there was no electricity even. For the first 10 years here, there was no electricity in our house. We used to work with kerosene lanterns. I said, what shall I? Never seen a pool. He said, no. And he held my hand and he took a step in. We were near the mother's room. As he stepped in, the mother looked up. She was sitting on her sofa. So when she looked up, I had to enter also. I entered and he coolly announced, Mother, he can look after the pool. So mother gave me a big smile. She said, oh, you look after the pool. So I said, I'll try, Mother. So I was inducted into that. Gerard was here, the Swiss Gerard.
Yeah. Good friend.
So he was pushed into this also, and he and I were the partners for the swimming pool, looking after. We didn't know much about it. It turned green in 3-4 days time. Actually, when the mother came there was no circulation going on, nothing. What water we filled, it was there stagnant like a country pond. It had moss had formed below. But we did the opening. She came and sat there, and we practiced a little before the pool. Wanted practice, Medhanand library. His daughter and son had come at that time from Tahiti. They were Jean and Vero. They were tough looking. They joined ours. So they took charge, and somehow we went and practiced in the lake. Morning van would take us to the lake, practice some formation, swimming, this, that. And on the opening day we did this what we practiced in the lake.
In the green water?
Yeah. And then, because then immediately after it was over, and mother, because I was already appointed as looking after the pool. So just before mother left, Udar was there. He was in charge of something. So he came and told the mother that, Mother, tomorrow we are emptying the pool to clean it up. She looked and she said, oh, why? It's beautiful and green, she said. So next morning they brought pump on top and emptied the pool. We had to brush off all that. That was the condition of the pool at that time. Because we used to fill up. We didn't know how much circulation, what is it. The pump which they gave for circulation was too small a pump. And whoever was to do it, I don't know what Udar was in charge and Vishwanatha was in charge. Alan was in charge of building the things, the civil work.
Mhm.
He has done and he is gone. He went off to the lake by then. So they, whatever they gave us, we were trying to do with that. And the moss is faster than our circulation or our purification of the water. The filters were not adequate enough. Anyway, we struggled through that. We learnt as we went along, we learnt. And when we fill up every 1.5 months or 2 months, we empty the whole pool, brush it down, take out all that moss, and then refill. When you fill 3 days, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, by now the circulation was there, the pump, but it was too small a pump for this purpose. So the moss would form in any case. The water may remain little clear, but below there would be a quite thick layer of moss formed. You could go down and write your name, with your hand. Anyway, everybody enjoyed the swimming that time. We did. And later on it was in 57. In 87, maybe 30 years we ran it like that. And then it's we got to know a little more filtration system, and we put new pressure filter, this, that. We tiled the floor was all of mosaic, which was getting corroded little, and the moss would have a good hold. We tiled it recently. This is all done in 87 and 88.
You didn't use chemicals.
We did have some bleach for chlorine, and but that also, we got some bleaching powder from some place here, which would, because afterwards we keep, they said 4 kilos you put there. That was the calculation given to us. We put there, but we didn't know exactly, and that was the chlorine would go. What remained was just some lime, probably. I gave it to Joshibai to analyze after that. He said, after you are using it for 10 days, 15 days, or 20 days, then after that there is only lime, there is no chlorine at all. But we used to mix it and put there something. It was much later we slowly learnt, seeing other pools, went and saw. We changed the pump, we changed the filter and all that. That is much later. So
this was your first work.
That was the first work. But while I was doing that once, I used to take in the morning some classes in the school. Some children's classes. And I was studying one by one I left the subjects, as I was getting work. History, geography, all this I left. Then chemistry, physics, maths was the last subject that I let go. Then I was still teaching some classes. Then one day when I went up to the mother in the morning, I used to go. Before this was, I got the opportunity. Birenda, you heard of Birenda?
Yes.
He was our guru, like in physical education. As a family friend too. He taught us swimming, he taught us boxing. He was the one who started our outing, hiking out and all this. So he had his broken knee. So he was, when it was plastered up, Sanyal plastered his knee from here to there. So, and he was living in where physical education library is there. Upstairs he was given a room, a key shed, he was living there. And I was living next door for some time. Where the silk cotton tree is there, that place. Richard and I were living together there for some time. So as we were the neighbors, would go in the morning, because Birenda would go to the mother in the morning before the balcony darshan. Any time after 5:30 she may come. So by 5:30 we would be there. So in the morning we would get up and Birendra was upstairs, his bathroom was down. To have carry him down and then give him a bath and get him ready, and he would hang on to our shoulders like two crutches. Would take him to the ashram upstairs, and mother would see, and she would give. He used to give a report of his daily work in a diary, and she would see, and then she would write something, some quotation, either her own, sometimes from Dhammapada, sometimes from some Quran. His diaries are very interesting. Borun had taken and published some of them. So we used to take him up there. Then he got better. But after she used to see his diary, she would give Richard a yellow rose and give me a red rose. And then she would go for the balcony. We used to rush down and see her in the balcony also.
Always the same colored rose?
Yes. So then Birendra got better. He could manage on his own. So I had an idea why we should. She's already so busy. Why we should go and again trouble her or something. So I said I won't go from tomorrow, Birendra. Richard told me that I too will not go, but I'll go today and tell her that we are not coming, and then I'll stop. So that day Richard only went. She gave him the rose, then she asked, where is the other fellow? He told that now mother, we thought Birendra can manage on his own, so now we will stop. He has stopped coming, and then from tomorrow I thought I'll stop. She said, no, go and tell him that all these days he came for Birendra's sake, from tomorrow for my sake to come.
How beautiful.
So from next day I went there. It was until she stopped seeing people and she went. She had gone already. The second floor, the top floor was ready.
But that was 62, no?
Yeah. But she would come down. I could hear her coming down. Then she would give us and go to the balcony. And we would rush down and get her in the balcony. Then later when she stopped seeing people, when she was ill and all, the thing was over. We didn't go. Only on birthdays we go. So that was the time how we got close to her.
Did you write to her from time to time?
Very rarely. When I joined work, there sometimes I had problem there in the work time. So I had written to her, and I told her at one time, like, they're paid workers, say something got stolen. One brass implement, some coupling sort of thing. So I called my workers and told them, see, this is missing. Nobody else is taken. So for me it is simple. It costs 24 rupees or 25 rupees. Each of you, I'll find 2 rupees. I'll get my thing. One of the workers was a very good worker, intelligent chap. He was the best of them. All of them were good. So he said, Ayya, so according to you, we are all thieves. So that got me thinking. I didn't do any finding. So I wrote to the mother. We are lost like this. I should treat the workers as not somebody who is lower than me, but I should treat them as helpers, equal, and I need their help, and I was there for them. That was my attitude towards them. Is that right? And now that this thing has got stolen, should I blame one of them on suspicion, or all of them equally? Or is the management to be blamed? So for taking them as friends, she wrote yes. For punishing one or all equally, no. Is the management to be blamed? Yes. so, so even now when people say the servant has stolen something, I don't encourage the punishing. I told one or two times when I had the chance or the job of telling them, tell them no, you cannot punish. You are to blame. But not many will take it coolly. If I today's servant steals his money and I tell it is your fault, I don't know how he will take it. But if they are close friends, I have been telling them. So and that was one thing with her. And later on for work is to when one day when I went up to her, so I used to do a design in her room. Even now we do. Those days design was done every day.
Oh.
Before it was with flowers, we used to arrange with flowers only. And she would come and see. It was finished before she arrives from tennis now. And as soon as she leaves the playground, there are several of us, Joshi Bai, this my sister Bhautani, Koki, 3-4 of us, we separate out even the flowers as much as we can, if we can reuse them the next design. It's not just the painting as we do now. So we used to do all with flowers. There was no painting. So there are 2-3 of us who will do this. Jayantilal introduced us there. So when I joined, you asked me about the work. Swimming pool work was going on and I was teaching also. So one day she told me, why don't you go and help them in the press? Out of the blue, she said. I said, Mother, I don't know. Nobody told me they need help. She said, no, when you have free time, you go and help them there. I said, all right. She said, but don't leave the design, she said. I said, all right. And then you can't leave the swimming pool. I said, okay. So I used to go to school. On 2 days I had my design. I would after school or after lunch or 11 o'clock I would go and do the design. And other free time, if I have 1 period off even or 2 periods off, I would go to the press, do working there, in the binding department, Or if there's extra work sometimes to do at night. And school was going on. By then I had left most of my studying. Because she said if you want to really study, you can do it at home. You don't need somebody to make you sit and study. I said, all right. And design was good. Jayantilal had put us in there. So one day I drew, and there were a lot of these jasmine flowers. So with them I arranged one, drew what I thought to be a tiger, head of the tiger, just the silhouette, and arranged the other flowers like flames around. And that day I was a bit late in finishing. So before I could finish, she came back from her tennis. So I was caught there only. She said, qu'est-ce que tu as fait? So I said, Mother, I've done a tiger in a flame. She saw, she said, no, it's not a tiger. What you have done is a lion without the mane. So I looked at her, oh, you don't know. She said she took her letter pad, not letter pad, just cheat pad, just a small one like that, took a pen and she drew the difference. Tiger and lion. I was fool enough not to ask her, you give me that thing. So what she did with it, maybe she threw it in the dustbin, I don't know. So like this close contacts time we had. Then closest contact came, this was going on. In 50, after Sri Aurobindo's passing, people had some rethinking, I think, many people. So we were asked to study, continuing the study in our school here, to prepare privately that time, to go and give a college metric exam, matriculation in Andhra University. It was that time, the Andhra University rules were such that it was allowed like that. You study privately, you go and register your name. For the exams you can come and give. So, we were young enough still, that was in 50. I was a 16-year-old, not yet 16. So when the parents said, no, then the many said, ashram is alright, but when you are older you can come back, do your sadhana. It is engaged, you should go and whatever. We went and studied. We gave matriculation exam. My two cousin sisters, my cousin brother and I. So we passed. My brother and I passed. And then we were told from home that now you can go and tell the mother what you will do next. Choice was given to us. Probably with a belief or a supposition, presupposition that we will opt to go and college, study and follow them. My brother went first, Narayan. He said, we have passed the exam, and said, what will you do? He said, I'll ask my parents, whatever they say I'll do. She said, very good. So when I went, I told her, no, mother, I don't want to go anywhere. I'll stay here. She said, very good. So when we went home after all this was about 11:15. We went upstairs to her. At home we were asked, what have you told the mother? He said his, and I said my say. Oh no, what is this? Then you should study and we can come back later and all this. Same. I didn't speak anything. But one thing very great, in the evening, playground time, just before the distribution, mother called both of us, my brother and me. She said, I would like you both to stay here. I was naturally happy. He also was happy, I think, but he could not oppose his parents, I think. Whatever it is, he went off to study, he joined and he went engineering. He was a good student. They sent him to Germany, they sent him to America to training. Then myself, it's a different story. I still went and gave an exam for a military exam. I said I don't like all these studies, thing. I choose because my elder brother, they are all in the military, Air Force. I said, all right, you go and study for them. So one or two colleges refused me because I had lower average than my brother. So I didn't get admission there, luckily. So I chose this military career. I had chosen this. Then I gave a military exam. Before the results came and all, they wanted me to come for something back to one of our towns there, Bhimavaram. I said, no, I don't want to go, I have nothing to do. He said, no, father is there, he has called, you must come. So there was a little bit of tussle. And because at noon I told the mother, she said, no, you can stay. But at home they wouldn't listen. Anyway, I went in the evening, I said, all right, you go, I'll inform her and come. So in playground, I rushed, So the evening train would go at 8 o'clock. So at 7:15 I rushed before the march past into her room. I told her we had arguments at home and all. They are not agreeing to this. So suddenly she said, "Will you do one thing?" I said, "Yes." She said, "If I give you the money, can you run away from home without telling anybody?" So I was caught by. I said, "Yes, I'll do it." So she called for a bag. She asked how much it will need. I said, "I think about 40 rupees will do." So she gave me 50 rupees. Only person who knew was Gauridi was there. So she brought the bag, and so that 50 rupees I put inside my pocket. I went, didn't say anything. They said they would send me back soon. So 2 days, 3 days, nobody talked of. So in that time I looked up the train schedules, and one fine day I walked out, sat in the train and came back. I told her it is done. So she said, "All right, very good." But, because nobody was in our house, so I was staying in the house here alone. In the meantime, one registered letter came. I had given a military exam, no? So I took it to her. I said, "I passed the military exam. They are calling you to come to Bangalore for some physical and all that. Then they will send you to military academy, Dehradun or somewhere." Then she said, "Oh, very good, you have passed. We have some people, friends in military. If you want help, we will give you." So I said, "What is this?" I came running away. I called to her advice, and she asked, "Give me help to go." I said, "No, mother, that is all over. I am not thinking of going back anywhere." She said, "Oh, very good." She said, "Then what will you do with this?" I said, "Sometime storm will come." She asked me, "Can you face the storm?" I said, "The storm will come sometime. So I'll wait for it and I'll keep it quiet." So I hid it. I didn't say anything about the letter. Then my uncle and dad all come back. And after a few days, another letter came from the military. That way, for those who missed, we are giving a second chance. You should come by such and such train and all this thing. So I took it to her. She said, "Do the same thing," she said. I said, "All right," I hid that one also. Then naturally, the thing won't. They asked me one day when I went home, that what happened to the military exam. Because I told you one of my elder brother was in the Air Force.
Mhm.
So maybe he inquired or whatever it is. They asked me at home, my uncle asked, "What happened to your exams?" I said, "Oh, I have passed it." I told the mother, and we decided not to do anything about it. They didn't say anything. Nobody. From then on I was let's say a free person. Nothing to do. But they didn't say anything more after that. Even only once when I went to my place Guntur later on, my mother was there. So she one day caught me alone, my father and my mother. Here my uncle, they were my uncle and aunt. So my mother, she said, "Arey, how long now you are all immersed in playground, this, that thing. But what will go on like this? What will happen later?" I didn't try to say anything. I kept quiet. Because it's difficult to explain anything to anybody. So I kept quiet. Then my father heard. My father was quiet all this. Finally he said, "Leave him alone.
Hmm.
You have got 4 other sons. You make them doctor, engineer, whatever you like. Him, you leave him alone. Don't tell him anything. From that day, she never told me anything. We are on good relations as it is. So it was over.
We would like to invite you back because I know you could tell us many things about the older sadhaks, your experiences with them, and we've run almost an hour today. So, will you come back?
Yeah, sometime.
Okay, wonderful. Maybe after the second.
But you will tolerate my forgetfulness.
You have a memory that I would be envious of. So many names and people you've remembered. Is
What happens is when I get to the
wonderful.
playground and with the group, I forget most things. Or even when I'm doing something, I forget the other things, I think. Whether it's a quality or a disqualification, sometimes it is one, sometimes the other.
Well, it
So-
was wonderful tonight, and thank you so much.
Thank you.